Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 113 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. So in a world where we feel even more time-starved and even more distracted, we ultimately crave simplicity. And when I work with people who feel like there is just so much to do, then there is time to do it. Often the thing that they most desire is to not have to do anything. So if you feel like sometimes all you want to do is simply stare at a wall and not be on the move constantly, then you are in the right place. So today we're going to discuss how to create even more simplicity in our lives so that you can enjoy having the space that simplicity affords to do what you really want to do, with whom you want to do it, when you want to do it. There is an illusion of control that permeates everything that we do. Even simplicity itself is a construct of our mind where we desire to let go of as much as possible so that we can have more time to do the things we truly care about. So, for example, we work with kids so that they can get into a certain routine, so that they find routines that work for them, and we find routines that work for ourselves, so that we can stop wondering what the kids will be doing or what we will be doing next. We don't have all of these open decisions that are out there that take up our mental energy. We feel a sense of calm, of safety, of just groundedness. And so the reason I want to note that simplicity is a construct of our own imagination is because we can get so caught up in this race to simplify and reduce that we actually lose sight of the reason that we wanted to do it in the first place. There's certainly a place where oversimplification does not serve us. We miss the point completely, and instead of taking out what doesn't matter, we take out everything. So how do we start to simplify? So if you want to create more simplicity, specifically, for example, in your work life, one of the best places to start is with your goals. You can create from a blank slate and you ask yourself, what do I actually want to achieve in my work? Many times we say yes to everything that comes our way because we don't realize that there are a few things that matter more than others. We don't realize that people might not notice if we didn't do a lot of these little things, but they will notice if your main responsibilities, your main roles, the things that only you can do best, aren't handled properly. And if you don't do the only thing only you can do well, it will be noticed way more than the myriad of things you might handle and touch on a day-to-day basis, especially if we like to be very helpful and say yes to all of the team gatherings and all the things where we put things together for everyone else. And sometimes we like these ancillary projects more than we like our day-to-day work. So we work on these pet projects without a true sense of ROI, return on investment, on the time that we are investing. So does one additional hour on this additional project or meeting equate to 10x the return in terms of impact? Many times it doesn't. Sometimes it does. So if you love to say yes because you hate to disappoint people, it is not easy to stick to your original plans. This is where things get off the rails. I would offer that it's not all or nothing. It's not I either am a helpful person or I am not a team player. So your original plans can leave room for some impromptu opportunities or projects that come along. Decide ahead of time what makes most sense in terms of additional time commitments. Perhaps you can create room in your life over the next 2 to 3 months for 1 or 2 projects in addition to your core responsibilities. Let yourself enjoy the unexpected moments by leaving room for them in your life. The main issue is that it's not that we don't want to do the work, it's that we don't have time to do it all well. And so if we start off with the assumption that we will have some new things come in, we can leave space and time in our calendars to handle that. It's the same as on the course of a day. You will be responding to emails, you will be responding to impromptu requests, but the only time it becomes an issue is when we don't leave any room in our calendar to handle those kind of new and different things that might come into our calendar, and they will come into our calendar. So instead of just saying, well, I either say yes to everything that comes in or I just don't do any of that, why don't you leave what is an appropriate amount of time in your day? Maybe 10% of your day is going to be reserved for ancillary projects or things that you didn't know you might have to do. Maybe 20%. It doesn't really matter what the percentage is. What matters most is that you get to do the things you want to do and you like to do, even if they're not within your core realm of responsibilities. You just want to be choiceful, and you also want to be intelligent, and you want to be proactive about scheduling the time for it. So simplicity in our work also looks like deciding ahead of time what we want to become an expert in and what we want to learn. This is what I call creating your own curriculum. So if you love to learn and grow, which you likely do if you're listening to this podcast, and you feel like it's not happening anymore, you actually can decide that you will create your own curriculum. This doesn't mean that you're going back to school, although that is an option. It means that you put structure and accountability into your life so that you must learn and you must grow. This can look like anything from classes to different career paths to coaching. And the reason this decision to create your own curriculum will actually simplify your work life is because you now know that you've created a process to ensure that you continue to progress. You've made that one decision that eliminates all the thousands of other decisions. You've decided how to add value to yourself, which helps you add value to others. And you're essentially just putting yourself on this path and you're just going to move along. You've decided already how you will spend your spare time. Confusion happens when you see a lot of different opportunities and you don't know how to value them because you don't already know what you want to pursue. I remember early on taking a class about how to succeed as a young leader, and this quote always stuck with me, and it might not be the exact words, but you get the essence, which is this: the difference between those who are successful and those who are not is how they spend their free time. So how you spend your time isn't just about working more in your free time. It's also knowing how and when to relax, to restore, to recharge. And I often work with my clients on their personal growth curriculum. And instead of leaving their growth or their forward progress up to chance, they learn about topics they're curious about or areas in which they know they need more work, or they know if they put 1 hour here, it will be 10, 100x return. And whether it's time management, whether it is spirituality, leadership, culture building, or developing your own intuition, when you take an engaged approach to learning and practicing and increasing your skills, that will accelerate your results. And when you feel that momentum, you're no longer doing this next thing, which is comparing. So simplicity can also be found when you focus on what your path is. You stay in your lane. You focus on what your own evolution looks like. And you move yourself towards work that is more meaningful and purposeful on your own path, not someone else's path. So if you find yourself comparing to others, which is very common, it adds a lot of noise to your own life. It's like trying to listen into one frequency of sound and then hearing a lot of other sounds and noises around you. It's very distracting. It's not useful. And it often creates this sense of doubt about what your own frequencies are and what they sound like to you. What are you actually trying to listen to? What does it sound like? This analogy is about learning who you are. And when you learn to know who you are, it allows us to drop any of those things that we do to just look good or better for other people. And instead, we focus on trusting our own thoughts, our own voice, and our own guidance. So if you have a project, for example, that no one else knows much about, and you're the only one working on it, you have to stay in your own lane and become an expert at this project yourself. And instead of doing work from a place of external validation, we do it from a place of intrinsic motivation. What do you need from others, right? You start to ask yourself these questions. What is the one thing that you don't want to do that must be done? How can we be even more fearless? And so that intrinsic motivation will get us to do more things than we normally would have. And we will own all of these decisions, whether asking for help or doing the hard thing or being courageous, because you're staying in your own lane. And when you're doing that, you can take bigger risks because you're allowing yourself to create more safety. Every time you do something that you know isn't because you're trying to get external validation, because you already know you're worthy, you're confident that you're doing it for reasons that are not just about you anymore. And that is what leadership is all about. There is a sense of self-leadership towards a future version of yourself that's going to be a more impactful version, a person who is giving to themselves and to others, a leader when it comes to people managing others, when it comes to being a leader of your peers. That's someone who's actually thinking about others as well. And when you have confidence that you're thinking for not just you, but also for those around you, you can be confident in what you're saying and doing. And you know that what you're working on, what you're practicing, and the hard things that you're doing that you haven't done before, you're not doing it for other people, but you're doing it because of the simple fact that this is what is in front of you right now. That is a simple way to start looking at the decisions we have to make versus the decisions that might be a month away, a week away, 2 days away, 5 years away. And this focus on what opportunities and what work is available to you right now allows you to create your own path, one that is filled with unique experiences that only you can have. And each of these experiences will then establish you more firmly as a unique individual with a unique combination of talents, of skills, or passions that you then contribute to the world. And when you see yourself as unique, not because of an aspiration to be different, but because you realize that no two people have the same life experiences and paths, life does become more simple. You understand that other people's paths are none of your business. You focus more on your work and less on others. And instead of judging yourself by comparing yourself to others, you learn from others. And once you do that, you have a lot less of that inner critic and that noise of talking back to yourself and shaming yourself or embarrassing yourself or making yourself wrong in your own head. So, in summary, it is possible to have more simplicity in your life than you ever imagined. You can have more simplicity in your work by starting with your goals. What do you want? Creating your own curriculum of the learning, the growth that you will achieve, and then staying in your own lane and handling what is in front of you and the opportunities and work that's in front of you, not in front of someone else. So you will never have more opportunities to simplify your life than you do today. So this is a muscle. I would encourage you and I would challenge you all to start now. You will only get better. You will only get more resilient by creating simplicity from chaos every moment and every single day. And the amazing thing is, you have millions of opportunities and millions of chances to practice this muscle every single day. So have an amazing week, my friends. And if you want to become that person who is more certain of their goals, their own curriculum, where they're going, and to stop some of that comparison because you now know more about what it is you care about and what you want to do and the purpose and the path that you're on, then reach out for coaching. You can go to mayemson.com/contact to schedule a consultation where you will learn what is going on in your life, how coaching would work, and you will get clarity on how to move forward in that process. So I love you, my friends. I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. It'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.